According to the EPA, 500,000 diesel trucks are emitting the same amount of pollution as 9 million trucks would. How exactly are these 500,000 trucks putting out so much pollution? Because of rolling coal. You will have seen clips like this of a big lifted truck billowing thick lumpy black smoke into the faces of cyclists as it's passing. I'm not entirely sure why those people think it's so fun to force carcinogenic gases into the lungs of people who are just trying to get some exercise, but from the cyclist perspective, it sucks having to breathe in a combination of straight soot, metallic compounds, and a host of nasty gases including sulfur dioxide. But outside of poisoning your neighbors, what does rolling coal actually do in the grand scheme of things for the environment, but more crucially, maybe for you, to your engine? Hello people of the internet, I'm Nico. Not exactly one to comment on environmental impacts considering I drive a Triumph Spitfire, but I'm still gonna comment on it anyways. Let's take a look at what exactly rolling coal does. First off, as ever, we need to start with the basics, and that means starting with how you even roll coal. But since it's illegal, I cannot tell you that you need a tune which programs the truck's computer to inject excessive amounts of diesel fuel into the engine. I also cannot tell you that you can get these kind of tunes from various aftermarket companies, which you could then wire up to a switch that you could install on the dashboard. Doing so would allow you to have your fun rolling coal, but then also be able to turn it off on the flick of a switch should law enforcement suddenly be present, but of course I cannot tell you that. The last thing I cannot tell you is that in order to get your smoke extra thick and sooty, you need to remove the particle filter in the exhaust. This is the one item that would really filter out and capture all of the particulate matter that makes the smoke so thick and sooty. Having not said all that, what exactly happens when you inject excessive amounts of diesel fuel into your engine? Obviously, it's going to increase your fuel consumption a lot, but what kind of damages does this cause to the engine and to the exhaust gases? Well, first and foremost, there's going to be a lot of unburned or partially burned fuel stuck inside of your engine. As a general rule of thumb, most engines need about 14 times as much air as they need fuel, and so taking up a certain amount of that volume with fuel might result in unburned or partially burned fuel stuck inside of your engine. This has some long-term consequences that I'll get to in a sec, but the unburned fuel also severely affects the exhaust gases. Diesel exhaust is dirtier than gasoline, just kind of by nature. Diesel exhaust releases more nitrogen oxides, which leads to increased levels in ground level ozone, and diesel exhaust contains more particulate matter. Particulate matter including stuff like carbon, some hydrocarbons, and metallic compounds. Fun fact, carbon is also the building block of diamonds and coal, which would give an explanation as to why it's called rolling coal. Now, on the topic of coal, if you know anything about coal mining and how dangerous it is to breathe in all of the fumes that are down in the mines, you may be wondering if rolling coal is just as dangerous. Now, I should preface this by saying I'm not a doctor, but I can go ahead and say that rolling coal causes a lot of problems both for you and me, and for the truck itself. So just how bad is rolling coal? The answer depends a bit on perspective. Take the EPA study I referenced at the beginning of this video. It's an easy, relaxing read. Oh, who am I kidding? It's a 23-page analysis of a decade's worth of data, so let's jump right into it. The first few pages are just a boring letter to some people I've never heard of explaining what is about to consume several hours of their lives. Going further down, we get to a summary of the study, which I can't be bothered to summarize for all of you, but there are some fun statistics like 500,000 trucks have added over 500,000 tons of excess nitrogen oxides into the air. We'll see a chart neatly showing all of this information in a second. Scroll further down and we see a picture of a truck, because government officials often don't understand much of anything. But while we're here, let's look at some of the things that come with the truck. Ooh, aftermarket treatment system. This is the kind of thing that Volkswagen messed with a few years ago, and it cost them $30 billion. If you want to find out more about Volkswagen's emissions scandals, that's plural scandals mind you, then you can check out this video here. Go on a few more pages and voila, the lovely and neat table showing all of the important information. These numbers are based on data by the EPA, but you can see here over 350,000 trucks confirmed to be modded, and they are pumping out the equivalent of almost 6 million trucks worth of emissions. Sick! Our planet is probably lost, but hold on a sec, let's take a look at some other numbers to make sense of all of this. Just below the first table is another one that breaks down everything by state and also gives us the amount of nitrogen oxides and particulate matter released over the course of this decade-long study. 570,000 tons of nitrogen oxides and 5,400 tons of particulate matter. That's a lot of tons, but with a reference point we can make sense of this. This is a container ship. It burns the lowest grade, dirtiest fossil fuel on Earth, bunker oil. Your average container ship burns through several thousand gallons of this stuff on every voyage, and one of these container ships belches out as much pollution as 50 million cars. So yes, Earth is probably a lost cause, but it goes to show that rolling coal is not really that bad in the grand scheme of things when it comes to emissions. Outlawing it helps, I mean every little thing counts, but as it stands, rolling coal is a scratch compared to the Hulk smash-sized punch that the shipping industry is giving Earth. So if emissions aren't even the greatest concern, then who cares? You, the person rolling coal, you should be the one who's very concerned about this because it directly affects how long you have before your truck is toast. Here's the real problem with rolling coal, ignoring all of the toxic gases and the climate change effects and what have you. It can really ruin your engine. When you try to burn more diesel fuel than your engine can manage, you will end up with a lot of carbon buildup inside of your engine. Now, to be fair, this will happen given enough time in a regular car, but this will only happen faster if you have a coal rolling tune installed on your engine. So sooner rather than later, your engine will look like this. And if your engine gets so much carbon buildup that it's not running right anymore, then your only option is to take apart the whole thing and clean everything from the inside out. Another problem with the carbon buildup is that you will have to do oil changes more often. The oil in your car, while mainly serving as lubrication for all of the moving parts, also acts as a bit of a cleaning agent. And having unburned or partially burned fuel in your engine will certainly make the oil dirty faster, but that is a relatively minor problem. The more dangerous problem is with what comes out of the back. Now, I touched on this more in the beginning of the video, but I really want to emphasize the health complications that arise with inhaling any of the diesel exhaust gases. Diesel exhaust comprises of various gases such as carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitric oxide, nitrogen dioxide, various sulfur oxides, and hydrocarbons, including polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. All of these have different effects on the body, ranging from harmless to dangerous. Carbon dioxide is something we all breathe out, so while we would effectively drown if we only breathe that in, it's not the end of the world for a small amount to end up in your lungs. Carbon monoxide, on the other hand, limits the ability of blood to carry oxygen, so you definitely don't want to be breathing that stuff in. Other gases you won't want to breathe in are any of these sulfur oxides coming out of diesel engines. Sulfur dioxide can reduce the ability of your lungs to function and is even more dangerous for individuals with asthma. Meanwhile, sulfur trioxide forms sulfuric acid when it comes into contact with water and contributes to the formation of acid rain. Lastly, hydrocarbons. Diesel fuel itself is made of hydrocarbons, and it doesn't take a doctor to tell you that ingesting any amount of diesel fuel, or gasoline for that matter, is not healthy. Specifically for polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons though, long-term exposure to these can result in cataracts, kidney and liver damage, and jaundice, which will result in the Despicable Me minions chanting, "One of us, one of us, one of us." Some of you Eagle Eye viewers may have noticed that I skipped over nitric oxide, and that's actually because it's beneficial for you in terms of your cardiac health, your respiratory response, and it also reduces, give me a sec, erectile dysfunction. I'm not that old yet. So, if you are actually one of those who is pro rolling coal, that is your only argument that it's beneficial, but that's only if you can ignore the problems that come with sulfur oxides and the other gases, which easily outweigh any benefits of nitric oxide. So in conclusion, if you are the type of person to roll coal, I've got to ask you to stop. It's not helping anyone, it's not helping our big space rock, it's not even helping your engine. But if you must make life worse for everyone around you, just don't do it in the faces of cyclists or Prius drivers. They're just average Joes trying to enjoy their life, so maybe have some heart and enjoy your performance benefits somewhere else where it doesn't directly enter somebody else's lungs. On that happy note, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then consider subscribing to see more videos like this. It's free and you can always change your mind later. If you want to learn about some flaws of electric vehicles, including the extent of their environmental damage, then I recommend this video here. Until next time, people of the internet, peace out.